Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of In the Garden with Matt the Garden Guy. We're literally sitting inside the garden today. In this episode, I'm going to be going over different harvesting of my veggies out here, techniques when you harvest. I'm also going to be going over one of the most annoying things in the garden. You probably guessed it already, weeds. Weed control, some techniques that you can do to help keep your weeds down, and just general pulling out the weeds. Something very important to do. We want to make sure that those weeds are not in our garden, sucking up the nutrients from our plants. Stay tuned, let's see how it goes. So inside my one garden bed today, we're going to be harvesting some spinach. In this garden bed, I have my spinach, I have my kohlrabi, I have beets, I have peas, I have some green cabbage, some broccoli, and some lettuce. So this is a 4x8 box. This is the box that I built that hoop house with. So I've started this garden in mid-March, so I'm actually able to harvest right now. So we're going to be harvesting some spinach right now. Again, remember, make sure you have our good sharp snips. And then try to adjust the camera here so you guys can see it. So when we're getting our spinach, so for this one right here, what I do is I cut about halfway up, and that's it. The reason why I'm doing that is because spinach is one of those plants that will grow back. Unlike kohlrabi, kohlrabi is a one-time. Spinach will grow back. So I'm just gonna cut a little bit of it off. And when I start harvesting my spinach, I kind of give it a haircut. So I'm not gonna cut it all off. I'm just gonna kind of try to make it look nice and even. I typically, though, too, you want to look for the biggest leaves and cut the biggest leaves off. Leave those smaller leaves to mature a little bit more. So let's see what this one looks like. Also, this one too. This one is broken. The leaf is snapped over. So regardless of the size, I'm gonna go ahead and take that one out as well. So doing this will stimulate new growth to the plant, and then new leaves will start growing. Spinach is one of my favorite leaves to eat. I like it better than lettuce. So let's just finish getting these off. I gotta be careful. I actually have some beets growing in between the spinach, so I gotta make sure I don't cut off those beet leaves yet, because I don't need those right now. Eventually I will make a really good beet leaf pesto. Once I get the beet leaves big enough, I'll have a video on how I make that beet leaf pesto. It's really good. You know me, put it on top of chicken. Super good. So yeah, getting the spinach a little haircut, cleaning it up a little bit so new growth can come in. I'm gonna try not to hit my beets that are growing in the middle. Looking for any leaves that might be damaged, getting those cut off as well. And, so it's a pretty good harvest for this little bit. I think I have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got about 10 plants. I got this much spinach. Pretty good, 2 handfuls. So that's spinach. That's one of the plants that I have in this box here. Next, let's go over to kohlrabi. I'll show you what I do with the kohlrabi. So next, let's go over and harvest some kohlrabi. One of my ultimate favorite things. So kohlrabi, for best texture, you want to harvest kohlrabi once the bulbs have reached 2 to 3 inches. Bulbs become more tough the older they get, So when you pull them out too, you want to pull them by the base. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so this is my kohlrabi patch here. See this one right here? We're gonna harvest this one right now. So this one is perfect condition to harvest. So when we grab it, we're gonna grab the whole plant out, and we just grab it down here in the bottom and yank it out, along with everything else. That is a perfect kohlrabi. So after you harvest this awesome kohlrabi, we need to start taking the leaves off. Just grab it and just yank it and twist it off. Try to get as much of them off as you can, because when you go ahead and peel this thing, it's going to be hard if they're still on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a knife, and I'm just going to cut right down. So just going to take a knife and cut straight down there. So now it's off, and now we can actually see the kohlrabi. I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the top here. I'm going to cut that, and then we're just going to peel it. So you can peel it. I normally just use a knife. So I'm going to take this and cut it right in half. There's your awesome kohlrabi. I love this stuff so much. You can even just rinse it off and bite it. Kohlrabi. It's extremely juicy. It's got that radish texture. It's not spicy like a radish. It's more sweet. Kohlrabi. Man, I love this stuff so much. If you can grow it, I highly recommend it. So radishes should be planted in not a large crop. So you should plant radishes what they call a succession. So you're going to plant one row, wait a week or two, plant another row. You also want to harvest radishes when you could see them poking out of the ground like this right there. If you wait too long, the radishes will become very tough, and they'll actually end up bolting and go to seed. So when we harvest a radish, we see it right there. We're just going to grab it, twist it a little bit, and pull it right out of the ground. There's a perfect radish to eat. So then after you pull your radishes out, pop new seeds in there. Keep growing. Note though, radishes aren't going to grow when the weather is super hot out. So here in Wisconsin, probably after July until the end of August, don't really want to plant radishes. So we're really just not going to grow that good. So go ahead and grab your seed, poke a hole in the ground, and drop the seed in there. So I just use my index finger, poke a little hole, grab your tiny seed, drop it in the hole, and just cover it up with dirt. Super simple, takes very little time. Basically what I do too is as I pull the radish out, drop a new seed in, cover it up, keep growing back. I'm growing these little small circle radishes. They take roughly 30 days from seed to harvest. Super simple thing to do. So after you pull them out, just go ahead and grab your radish.
Can you grab one, Halen?
And then put it under water and get all the dirt off of it. Here. And you take the radish and enjoy it. Eat it. You can even grow these awesome looking purple ones. How's it taste? Hey, one thing that I'm always doing when I'm in the garden is I'm always constantly weeding and looking out for stuff that shouldn't be there. So just grabbing the grass that might be coming up, any weeds, any foreign objects. It's a good opportunity to do that while you're harvesting your plants. So you'll see I cut a lot of the kohlrabi, the leaves coming up, and then I went ahead and tied them up. Now I'll be able to fit new kohlrabi right down the middle of those lanes. So I went ahead and planted 4 more kohlrabi down this row right here. Then over here I got 3, another kohlrabi there, and 2 purple kohlrabi, one right there and one right there. Now what I noticed is spinach grows really good under kohlrabi because it helps protect it from the sun. So I planted another 2 rows of spinach right there. So when the kohlrabi gets big, The leaves will help protect it, and it should grow really good. All right, so next we're gonna talk about harvesting lettuce leaves. So lettuce leaves can be harvested when the outer plant reaches, the outer leaf reaches at least 4 inches high. Allow the inner leaves, the young ones, to mature and harvest just the outer ones, so therefore you can harvest lettuce throughout the summer. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and grab our snips again, and we're gonna start cutting the outer leaves. When I cut it close to the ground. I leave it maybe about a ½ inch above the ground. When you leave that, new lettuce will grow up from that. So if we cut it all the way down to the ground, it actually can get some pest or nasty stuff going into the base of that leaf. So we leave it above the ground a little bit. That should help keep bugs from going inside. All right, so this one, again, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the outer part of the leaf and leave it just like that. I'm gonna do that for most of them. This looks like this is a red leaf, so this one's gonna be really nice. Some of them just came right off. But yeah, try to leave about a ½ inch above the ground and leave the inner leaf as much as possible if you can, or if you choose. You don't have to. You can just cut it straight off. Like if I want to, I can just cut this one straight off. It's okay. I have a lot of lettuce here too, so for me it doesn't matter if I cut it all out, because I really don't want all this lettuce to stay here. But if you want to start harvesting this lettuce throughout the year, make sure you don't cut all the lettuce off. Leave some of it, and also make sure you don't cut all the way to the ground. Leave about a good ½ inch to an inch above the ground, and new leaves will start coming up. Or you could do just like me, rip it right out of the ground. Then I grab my snips, and there's my lettuce. It's always good to taste test your lettuce too. Now that's good stuff. I don't use chemicals, pesticides, so I don't have a problem with picking it up and eating it. Just like over in that garden bed, as I'm harvesting my lettuce, I take this opportunity to go ahead and start weeding my bed and start thinking, what do I want to plant there, or what can I plant there right now, and doing it. So lettuce too, you can also wait until it gets into a bigger bulb, a bigger head. Just pull that out and have it kind of like how you have it at the store, but I can't ever wait. I just cut the leaves off. Okay, so as we talk about weeds, I got a question for you. Is this right here, is this a weed or not? Stay tuned in a few minutes. I'll answer that question for you. So the last thing we're going to talk about is some weed blocker. One of the best things that I have found is you get some cardboard. Make sure you get cardboard that does not have any tape and is not glossy. So almost the same type of cardboard that you would put in your compost. Remember, cardboard is also considered a brown in your compost. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my basics of compost video. I have some really good information in there. And one of the things is putting cardboard in your compost. Find the spot in our garden that we want to put it, and then get some clean wood chips that don't have any dye on them, and then just put the wood chips right on top of the cardboard. So now that we have our cardboard and wood chips down, we're going to go ahead and just hit this with our water, with spray to get a little wet, and that's it. Super simple. You can also use planks of wood. You can pop those in there, fill the sides with wood chips. You can also use that plastic wrap. I personally do not use it in my garden, but hey, if you have it and you want to use it, go for it. I would suggest putting the wood chips on the top. Just helps keep it down, and just, you know, as they start breaking down, they'll help your soil too. And the answer is yes, this is a weed. If you see this in your garden, get it out immediately. You suck away the nutrients from your plants. We do not need these in our garden. Hey, that's it. Episode 2 is done. I'm gonna be hanging out here with my dill. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, or if you want to continue to help support this page, go ahead and hit that share button. I'd also appreciate if you give this a like. Also, if you could, down in the comments below, give me ideas on what you would like to see in future episodes. Hey, until next time, keep growing, and I'll talk to you later.